What's the biggest thing you're working on right now?
A few projects, to be honest. So one is in AI-driven fashion, ethnic fashion and house, which is quite exciting. The other one is avatar-based. So yeah. And the third one, which is like maybe the most boring, but for me it's most exciting, is a big report on regulation.
Really? In AI or in what?
AI and blockchain.
I actually would be interested in that. An acquaintance of mine, his name's Alexander Ray. He formed the first third-party audit organization out there in Europe for blockchain.
Oh, regulatory body. I would love to connect with him.
Okay, I'd be happy to connect you. He is a bit, how to put this? He is a cybersecurity expert. So connecting with people is a bit different with him. You understand. But no, I'd be happy to connect you with him. Yeah, so what are you doing exactly with the report, if you don't mind me asking? I'm sure he'd be interested.
Well, basically we have two partners, Weblex 3 and Gamma Law, and I'm putting together a framework of questionnaires and research goals to understand what will be the next level, like a GDPR action. Instead of taking it very late, let's kind of take the steps now from a regulatory point of view and a framework and an auditing system for companies before before we have more damage.
So I want to share something with you. Last week I was meeting with a local university. They're forming a new AI program, and I'm doing a bit of consulting with them on that. And this gentleman, his name is Ken Perry.
Okay.
The short answer is the technology he used, he built the first low-code, no-code for Oracle, and it was retooled by Facebook. He sold his company and disappeared off the map many years ago, but he's back.
Yeah.
And the reason you're interested is he's got a proposal for a project called iBrain that he's working on at the university. And he wants to partner with universities and institutions to create asymmetric artificial intelligence where you're using IoT as a means to help identify and source AI attacks. He's calling it AI taxonomy. And
okay, very interesting. Very interesting.
In particular, he wants to work with institutions. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Institutions, governments, bodies, even companies, because today cybersecurity main problems is maybe the usual hacking happening. But imagine that the next wave is coming from decentralized AI.
That's also going to be a threat. I think decentralized AI honestly is more of a threat than centralized. You can accumulate more power more easily.
Exactly. More cloud, more problems. You don't know where it is. So it's like, kind of using a VPN when you don't know where it is.
Yeah, exactly. You would really like to speak to Alex too. What Alex is primarily working on right now is we're in the final stages of what we call a geometric blockchain. And it's essentially a blockchain that contains first micro chains and then it contains nano chains. So it has 3 separate ledgers.
Okay.
And the way it branches and functions, it doesn't make sense to me. And all Alex keeps telling me is trust the physics, not the math.
Yeah.
Because our TPS count is over 500,000 per second, and as you scale the nodes, the TPS count goes up, not down.
Yep.
So you've seen stuff like this, I'm assuming.
Yeah, with the DP.
Yeah? Okay, I'm glad that I'm not up in the night with this technology with him, because I'm like, this seems really unique. Where you get these types of non-linear processing models where it's not first in, first out, and yet it's still completely functional. So
you need to talk maybe to Andy. Let me introduce you because they just acquired. Oh my God, what's the name? Yom, the company of DeepMind, and DeepMind. I don't know how we want to pronounce it. And they are working on such things. So maybe that could worth a conversation.
I would agree. I like connecting people. That's one of the funnest parts of talking on here, honestly, is just seeing how you can help people because, I don't know, I believe in karma. And I think helping people, the more you put out into the world, it just works out.
Exactly. And I think this is how business is made, right?
Yeah. A lot of people, I feel like, forgive me for going on a tangent, but I think people misunderstand how business works, a lot of people, and they are too protective. And if you really want things to work, you have to share as much as possible. That's at least my current mentality.
Well, I think that, a few of us have this, are lining on this as open up to the universe and, and it gets back to you. That's it.
Yes.
Nothing can affect it and put a fence on it. It's not working. It's relationship.
It is. I absolutely agree with you. That's actually a lot of my own ideology, is this whole idea of that. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with you, but we're all connected. We'll put it that way for now. But no. So just let me tell you a little bit about this so I can focus on what we were coming here for. What I'm doing right now is, when GPT 3.5 came out, what I envisioned is, I'm like, okay, this is scary. AI is developing far faster than I anticipated. And this is going to put us into a hockey stick curve, and people don't recognize it. And the way that I personally imagine it is the surfers going up the wave, and we're already under it. And a lot of people don't understand that. So what I want to do with this is I understand that education is too far behind right now. And even as I've spoken with one of our local universities that we consider forward thinking, I'm looking at the ideas they're thinking of, and like, you're doing that the wrong way. It's just a way of thinking. And what I want to try to do with this book is take concepts and ideas from people that are in the field and present them in the hands of the 90% that aren't considering these things. To give you an idea here of kind of what I'm going at, like Ken Perry's idea of AI taxonomy. He's one person that I'd like people to see and research, but he's going to be speaking with some other people and other groups, so we'll see how that goes there. But like, for instance, another gentleman that we have in this book is a gentleman named Jack McCullough, and he built the Oculus Rift before it was sold to Facebook. His contributions there, by the way, were the vestibular cyber sickness reduction. And he's somebody that I'm really excited about. And then we have a young lady named Annika Jackson, who's doing her MBA in AI communications, and she's a PhD in communications expertise, #1 podcaster. She's an excellent individual. She's constantly dealing with people in this industry. Another person that we're considering, and we're looking at, I've talked to him about this. He developed the artificial intelligence technology for drones to do chemtrails and cloud seeding. His work has been deployed in the UAE, and he's currently doing studies in the West, in the United States, to do water conservation and how to improve weather forecasting through weather manipulation. At least he admits we're doing it. That's something I'm finally happy about. The United States doesn't really admit much of what they do. I'll be frank with you, I'm not a fan of a lot of the way our country handles things. We're not very transparent, and we're problematic, is putting it nicely. We don't help a lot of the world the way we could, and I like the stance that Europe is taking, for instance, on blockchain and artificial intelligence. You guys are looking for ways to both govern as well as not destroy the opportunity, and you guys have taken a really good leap forward in blockchain, DeFi, decentralized orgs. I love it. So that's a little bit there, and yeah.
Fantastic. No, but that's fantastic. I mean, like, I've been, I would probably say, trying to publish for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it because every time something happens and you're like putting it on the side, you write something, because I try to write my thought on LinkedIn, which not everyone get it. So unless you're an early adopter, but then people were like, can you expand on this? Can you expand on that? And I tried to kind of write, as you said, and it's important from my perspective and BGAs and the gaming and the Web3 in general, to not kill the baby in the, or the how do you call it in English?
Throw the baby out with the bathwater?
Yeah, or in the egg, like whether, the hen, like the chicken in the egg, whatever. I can't remember the expression. But yeah, the point is, from my perspective, I worked in marketing, for 20 years, and I know that I've seen the problems of the GDPR coming way before European Union start putting things together, which it did. It helped, but we needed more.
Yeah.
And we didn't need to be scared of using this GDPR anywhere else. It should be something naturally done. And with AI and blockchain and all this new technology, and we need to not be scared of it, but put a framework around it. So everyone who is using, internet, any IoT devices, has this possibility. I have kids, and I want to protect them rather than, deny things and then end up having a dark web, whatever things happening in the back with no control. I'm not for full control, but putting things like, I always compare it to what America did, the USA, not America, but the USA did. Prohibition of alcohol in the United States created more business than ever. So same things for any other things. The more you prohibited things for human beings, they will be inventive enough to find a way to do it.
Absolutely. One of my favorite authors, based off of his intelligence, whether you agree with his thoughts or not, is Yuval Harari. And one thing that Yuval Harari points out is if you look at a society and you want to understand it, look at the ideologies that conflict. For instance, in the United States, we try to say equality and individuality. These things they struggle. So it just creates a lot of conflict. And like you're saying, when you do create resistance, another really good act we did here is back, I think in 1972, they did an EPA act, or environmental protection. And one of the things they did was for water and wastewater treatment. And it spurred the creation of many organizations. People understand that when you add resistance or opposition, it forces people to grow. And that's one of the main issues I feel like in my country right now, primarily in the way that we have raised the rising generation. Oh my gosh, it's not good. It is not good. They don't have any grit, as I would put it. They don't have any ability to resilience. And it's just, I'm concerned, but I don't want to get on a tangent there. With you wanting to publish though, let me illustrate for you how this works. I think it will interest you with how busy you are. I also I would really like to see your writings more. I asked to be your friend on here, and I want to go through because I like the very forward-thinking people that aren't being reviewed. That's why I'm talking. I'm really grateful for that. But the way this would work is for the given books we're doing, when we do one of the books, if it fit for what you do, we would interview you. It would be like a 90-minute interview at the most. I would take the transcript from that, compare it to some of your other writings if you have those available, and all before it, I tune it with the AI to mimic your writing style and structure the chapter accordingly, and then I present that to you for review and approval, and then if you approve, we put it in the book with the other authors. And then from there we go and we publish on Amazon. There's hard copy, soft copy, audio, ebook. None of that's hard to do anymore. So we set all of that up, and then the distribution, so you're aware, is the primary is honestly through all the different authors. We have a minimum of 10 authors per book. Honestly, I'm going to set the minimum higher because the ideal typically is around 15 to 20 authors, so 15 to 20 chapters. And that way, that's a massive distribution network to get these concepts out to the rest of the world and build the branding. In terms of the proceeds and the way that those are going to be divided is it's just going to be royalties that go to the authors. And it will be divided out amongst the authors based off of contributions. And those will just be pre-negotiated based off of just conversations. For some people, for instance, they're more influential than others. And that's just their network alone covers a lot of the costs that would go into it. And there can be costs that go with this, and there cannot be costs. It just depends on the author's position. The baseline for some authors is around, the maximum is $2,500. And then depending on the author's influence, like network, things they've established, it just goes down. Because that's marketing expense. I'm like, well, that money that you were paying doesn't just pay for the production of the book. It pays for the amount of money we're going to put into direct marketing. So instead, we just kill that, and then that covers you. So that's a little bit of how that would work. With you, I would happily negotiate. You definitely got one heck of an influence. And I'll be honest, when I meet somebody that I'm very curious about, I basically beg them instead of sell them.
Thank you. Really appreciate. Thanks for that. I mean, if we align on some of the, basically, I'm more than happy to open the conversation furthermore. But one of the requests I would probably make is I need to see what the others are writing, because I do not, as you said, I don't want to have conflict with someone that is not aligning with my values or my community values. If that makes sense. Because one of the things is people come and reach out to you and say, oh, we're going to do this. And then you find yourself associated with other things that you don't want, that you have been avoiding, to kind of mix with. Yeah. And it's very easy, because one of the things is I try to keep myself away from scammers, problematic things.
Yeah.
I have a quite clear career where I had to stand for diversity and inclusion, for making sure that people have a voice, women in gaming have a voice. And for example, let's say talking to someone who has been always trying to shut this down is for me a no-go at all.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I run into these things. That's not a concern for me. I wouldn't select somebody that has biases like that. I'm about inclusion. I'm about concepts and value creation. I don't want, frankly, I don't want authors like that are causing problems.
I'm just kind of giving you an example in terms of what my priority, because again, being the first first African woman in gaming, leading, such position is very important. I work with governments. So for example, I was the first one leading the first research on diversity and inclusion in Web3 with the UK Parliament. I'm also a board member of the data governance based in Paris. So we try to make sure that people are informed. There is no bias. It's very transparent. There is no kind of underlying kind of lobbying around. If it is, it's clear and it's upfront rather than in the back, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It absolutely does make sense. And the more I talk to you, the more I want to introduce you to Alex. So I'm going to take your profile and shoot it over to him in a little bit. He's out in Dubai right now, working on our projects out there. But yeah, this is right up the things he cares about. So, have you done any work in the African continent by chance?
Yeah, I'm running a big event with a friend. I don't say partners. We're in Ghana. It's starting on the 2nd of September. Trying to build with the Central Bank of Ghana some regulations on Web3. So because if you get Ghana, you get Nigeria and Kenya. They are the leading ones in terms of regulation, putting things together. And there is an event happening on the 2nd and the 3rd of September. If any of your friends or your community want to attend, more than happy to invite them over. It's more government related. It's a B2B. It's not a B2C, more likely. So this is, for example, one of the things that I did. And I'm also running a half a day with Westminster University with the Department of AI to talk about the challenge, of AI in the workplace next. So a few things are happening here and there.
There's a lot of synergy here. A lot of the work that we've done. So, I want to be cognizant of time, but this is definitely something you want to know about. About 2.5 years ago, well, it's been more years than that, building those relationships, and this isn't me, where to begin? The short answer is the organization I work with in Dubai has done a lot of work in Ghana and a lot of work in Web3. Primarily, they did work through the digitization of some of the assets in Ghana, and we have provided infrastructure in Ghana. One of our projects that we utilized has built micro manufacturing plants to allow them to essentially take their own plants. Like for instance, soybeans, and refine those, or cocoa, refine those. We set up the manufacturing. We own that, but what we do is we hire the locals, and then we refine it there. We create it, and instead of them selling the beans and selling everything just raw, they now have organics, organically processed. They can sell it for a much higher margin and make a much higher profit for the country. And we also purchase it from them at a margin higher than the government will. So we can ensure that we're giving them a higher margin, we're building out manufacturing, and we're helping them overall through sustainability of the environment. Because as you know, when China has gone in there, and so is the U.S., they're not alone, but so much mercury they used in gold mining, for instance, It just destroyed, it killed people. It was really bad. And one of the technologies we brought to the table that is hard to believe exists is we have a proprietary satellite technology that essentially treats it uses a spectrum scanner and spectrography, but it basically looks at the planet as if it's an MRI. And what we can do through the quantization of energy is we can determine site locations of different elements and deposits with a high level of accuracy. So that's helped us be able to show them how to mine for gold without destroying the local plants that are like 20 years old. Because once these trees are gone, they're gone. I'm definitely connecting you to Alex after this. He'll probably want to go to the event and attend it, and so will their CEO over there, Shad Brennan, Roy Nilden. They were acquired recently. I don't know if you've ever heard of this organization, but they were acquired by a group called Promax United out of Dubai. They're not really a public org, but they are a large conglomerate, and they do a lot of things for the environment, as well as all of it's business-based. But they find opportunities for win-wins where we're trying to bring up the rest of the world. The last thing I'll mention is, for instance, right now they just finished negotiations in Indonesia, and this is a part of one of their really large projects called Earth Exchange, where it's essentially becoming a decentralized, centralized, well, basically, how do I put this, an organized means for carbon credit utilization. And using Web3, you'll love these guys. I think you'll absolutely love them. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, because BSV, the blockchain, the Zurich-based one, they are looking for some sustainable, project or at least corporation to team up with. So their CFO is a friend, and she was talking to me, and I'm like, I introduced her maybe to the leading one, which is the artist led by the United Nations 2030 project artist. They are based in Nairobi. So your guys could be like another addition, and if they want, they can even go and contribute to the event, for like maybe 20 or 30,000 just for the organization, and they get to sit at the table with the Central Bank of Ghana. Because again, when we try to organize such things, is we curate the companies that we want. It's not about sponsoring, like asking. Again, the money goes to the Ghana's guys on the infrastructure and building more. The aim, from my perspective, is to shine this as an African outside of their communities or the local things. And the aim is to get curated people to come, invest, and it's like an entry fees. You sponsor this event, so you have the opportunity to talk to the central bank people, talk to the people from a government institution to build this kind of things on a more sustainable way. Because Africa is not what it was, and that's what my speech always put to people. Don't think that we are as stupid as we were like 100 years ago, guys. We're savvy, we're educated, and we know what we want.
Absolutely. I don't like to, how do I put this? They have a relationship, a close one with the central bank. It took them years to establish it, but we've had to, because we have quite a few big projects out there. But at that same time, I know they'd love a seat at the table. I don't know what events they've got planned, but I'm just going to connect you guys. So we're going to go from there. Yeah. I think that's the most important thing that came out of this.
I think exactly who you have at the central bank is the CTO.
Okay.
So the guy who is running the IoT, that's very open and transparent. It's like you go, you sit with him and you say, this is what we're building, this is infrastructure, and it's like, okay, works for me, perfect. Let's roll it through, because if you go through the central bank means that all the financial, the other institution or department of financial institution, they will have to follow what the central bank has to put together.
Yes.
Okay. It's a gatekeeper.
Absolutely.
As easy as that.
So what we'll do from here is I'm going to give them your information, give them my notes, and then establish that they should need to contact you. These guys don't use LinkedIn very much, but I should try to change that. Alex is on LinkedIn, but Shad Brennan, he is too, but he's not. Does that make sense? He's one of those people that he's mostly boots on the ground. But I'm going to get this done right now. And it's evening for them, so it's evening for you too. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll get it done. Pleasure.
James.
Okay.
The pleasure. So send me more information, and then I'm happy to continue this conversation. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.